My message for all of the realtors out there as we count down towards this August 17th deadline, where the real estate industry effectively changes forever. You can argue whether it's for the better, for the worse, whether it's transparent, more or less transparent, whether it's better for consumers, not better for consumers. I guess it really depends what channel you watch. I saw some interesting commercials or some interesting I was watching the Today Show segment the other day where I'm just going, they have no idea, right? And so it's up to us as people in the real estate industry to actually educate consumers on what's going on. But regardless of how you feel about it, I want to tell you that, look, a lot of people share your frustration. They share your frustration not only for what has changed and where things are going and how we know it's not good for the consumer, but I want to remind you something that, I always think about is that when stuff like this happens, look, take 5 minutes and just scream and get angry, and I don't care. Say your favorite cuss word and kick a wall. Like, I don't know. But on minute 6, we've got to move forward. We've got to look at, we don't have to agree with change to understand that we've got to pivot and make ourselves the best version of what we need for ourselves, for our families, for our consumers, and all of that stuff. And all of that frustration and anger is not going to get you to that place. And so take your 5 minutes and enjoy it. Go for it. But on minute 6, it's going to be time to move forward. And, there's so much that's going on with this and what's going to change and really understanding it. And depending on where you are in the country, you're probably not done changing. There's all this conversation right now about compensation and will there continue to be broker-to-broker compensation or will it be requested by the buyer in the agreement and all those things. I'm telling you personally, I think that, and you can go back and clip this later on, I think long-term broker-to-broker comp is going away. And I think one of the main reasons for that is because when you look at the main reason for why NAR lost to begin with, when it came to the original court ruling, it was because they said that the industry was price fixing, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that the seller was negotiating a commission with the listing agent, giving the listing agent the ability to co-op with a buyer's agent, but that percentage, whatever it was set before that person was ever a part of the transaction. The buyer had nothing to do with it. They had no say in it. And whether you agree or don't disagree, I mean, I just call that incentive, but they called it something else. The moment we go back to broker-to-broker comp offering out, whether it's listed on the MLS or not listed on the MLS, which now it's not allowed to be listed on that MLS, we're right back where we started, and you can basically just count down until round 2 of litigation, okay? So where that goes in your area, we're going to have to see. Where it goes from the perspective of buyer agency, we've seen that Colorado came out and is not requiring that consumers sign a buyer agency agreement in order to show homes because they don't believe it's in the best benefit of the consumer. Whether other places are going to do that or not, we'll see. But as an independent contractor, you have to decide. You've got to talk to your brokerage which route you guys are going to go, not whether you're going to get it signed or not. Legally, you have to get it signed. But are you going to do a touring agreement? Are you going to do agreements specific to addresses, properties? Are you going to do exclusive or non-exclusive? Me personally, if I was practicing right now, I'd probably be doing non-exclusive. Because my real connection to that client was not about the contract ever. It was about our relationship, okay? My commitment to my wife has nothing to do with whether I've got a ring on or don't have a ring on. It's like no, it's the relationship. And we need to remember that. How do we create a business? We cannot allow all of these rules and all of these things to make us so transactional that we forget to make sure that we follow the rules, but that we're relational. Okay, and so that would be my message to you is make sure, talk to your broker, figure out which way you're going to move going forward, be ready to pivot, but, and figure out, what your agreement's going to look like, but make sure you're relational, okay? Like that's what's going to keep somebody long-term. We as an industry, we are eHarmony, okay? We're not after that one time, so to say, okay? We're eHarmony. We're not Tinder, all right? And so that would be my message to you when you're talking to buyers as far as that conversation and they're trying to figure out whether they should sign, shouldn't sign. You need to remind them that this is the largest purchase they're ever going to make. Being unrepresented is a complete disadvantage. Buying the largest asset they're ever going to own. That seller has a fiduciary responsibility to that seller to get them the best deal, the best terms, the best everything. And when it comes to who to sign with when you're getting that agreement signed, just remind them, hey, you could sign with me, you could sign with someone else, but I would highly recommend that you sign with somebody because we all have access to the MLS. So being a free agent doesn't help you. We all have access. But no agent is going to be more committed to you than you are to them. And so when it comes to responding quickly, letting you know about properties coming up in their brokerage, letting you know about off-market, letting you know, no agent's going to be more committed to you than you are to them. And so commit to someone, whether it's me or somebody else. Give them sage advice like that. That's the truth, okay? And you need to know how to say these kinds of things with people. We need to understand that as much as things have changed, we need to be educated. We need to remember what hasn't changed. And we need to go all in on those things that haven't changed. We need to remember it's about the lifetime value of the client, not the one time. We need to remember there's no such thing as a past client. There's only active clients and prospective clients, people who are actively buying and selling from you, and those that have done it previously who are now actively prospecting on your behalf because of your ability to stay in communication with them. There's only active clients and prospective clients. Get rid of this whole past client thing. We need to understand that while we might not agree with all of these changes, what they've done is they've created conversation. And so now you have to. Our business is not about going after closings. It's about going after conversations. Conversations are controllable. Closings aren't. But conversations lead to closings. They lead to transactions. And so now you've got this buyer agency agreement, you've got questions from sellers, you've got all these things, which you need to look at it on the positive front. It opens up conversation. So those that don't really know this business, that aren't professionals, now they're going to have a conversation, and they're going to be exposed. And you get the chance because you listen to people like me and others. You're in our programs and others, and you get educated on what to say and how to say it. And now that conversation increases you in their eyes instead of decreases you and gives you a better chance at ultimately working people. And you need to remember that. I want to tell you that as a whole in the industry, I believe in this industry, not because I have to, but because I do. So much so I've got my son in this industry. I believe he's going to go into this industry. That's how much I believe in the future of this industry. So like I said, take 5 minutes, scream and yell, do whatever you've got to do. But minute 6, we've got to get moving. We've got to start changing. You can't direct a parked car. There's got to be movement. You can't direct a parked car. You can't turn. You can't make adjustments. You can't pit when you're sitting in uncertainty. And so we've got to get out of that uncertainty, and we've ultimately got to start moving forward. And like I've said over and over and over again, you will not underperform. You will not be eliminated because of change in this industry. You will be eliminated. You will underperform because of your inability to pivot and adjust to that change. And now is that moment to adjust to that change. And the ones who do it quickest are the ones who are ultimately going to win. I want to remind you, we've been through a lot in this industry. We went through a financial crisis. We went through a total shutdown of the market and countries and whatever with the pandemic. And now we've had some change forms. We've got to change some lingo and change the way we do this. But you're going to be just fine.